Hey there, YouTube land, and tonight I'm going to be doing a video on my, well, 31 of my favorite 1980s horror films. And why 31? Because random number. Obviously, I'm not 31. I'm not doing it by every year because I ain't seeing 31 again. Well, not unless there's some kind of huge time-changing thing that'll work. But actually, I just finished watching a few videos on there. I just watched a couple videos from AJ Punk 15. If you haven't checked him out, you really should. He's a really good YouTuber, and he's actually from my home province of Newfoundland. So see if you can see any of the accents showing through on from me to him. I think we have slightly different accents because we're from different parts of Newfoundland, but it's always a great way to see. And basically, you can tell that us Newfoundlanders do have a love of the horror film. So if you haven't checked him out, he's got a great unboxing of that strain set that came out with the bust there, which is really, really cool. It makes me want to go get it because you know, I got all those Walking Deads up there. Speaking of which, does anybody know if there's going to be Walking Dead limited edition? Because are these seriously going to make me not blow $100 on a new limited edition Walking Dead set? Okay, more money for the Scream Factory sale and stuff like that. So here we go with 31 of my favorite 1980s horror films. Why 31? Why not? Just because random. In no particular order. But first up is Cat People. Now, Cat People is one that I really like. And not just because of the teenage boy when I saw this, full of hormones, and getting the chance to see both Annette O'Toole and Natasha Kinski in their prime. Both of these women aged extremely well as they got older, by the way. And of course, so did the lead male actor, because let's not be sexist here, Malcolm McDowell, who's a very, very cool actor. And to this day, when I got to meet Malcolm McDowell, he was awesome. So, don't have a bad word to say about the guy. Just some really cool stuff. Cat People has some fantastic imagery. It's got I think it's got Giorgio Moroder doing like the music along with that amazing song by David Bowie. Just incredible stuff. This is an amazing, beautiful film. Love the way that it looks. I love the style of it. When basically, who directed this one again? I gotta remember now. Paul Schrader, right? Paul Schrader. I think it's Paul Schrader. Yeah, Paul Schrader. When Paul Schrader decided that he was gonna basically redo the Cat People, that was, Cat People was not maybe the most well-known film, but among horror fans and people that really like cinema, Cat People was quite the feat out there. One of Val Lewton's produced films, and it was considered one of the greats. So, basically in the 80s, I think it was 80. What year was this? Because I don't remember. 82, I think. Was there 82? Yeah, there's a lot of great movies done in 82, by the way. This is stylish. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. This is messed up, and this is a must-have. It is a beautiful, beautiful film. Though, if you can get this version, it's got it's a great edition, but there is the DVD edition is fantastic as well. If you can get both of them, you'll have the Ultimate Cat People package. Next up is one that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because I normally do spend a lot of time on it, and it is Dolls. Dolls is a fantastic little film done in. Now let's get the year on this one as well. 87. Well, that's the later 80s one. I really did dig this movie. Loved it a lot. That's all I got to say. Because you want to know more about Dolls, check out one of my other videos. Next up is one that I didn't expect to like at all. Well, I expected to like it in a very kind of type of way. And this one actually hits on the cusp. It actually is 1980. So this was kind of where the movies were kind of going at the time. And although this movie should mess and fire and screw up on so many different levels that you think it will be a complete mess, especially if you watch the trailer and if somebody just tells you what the movie's about, then you're like, not so sure about that. But New Year's Evil actually turned out to be one that me and my son, Matthew, we watched, and we ended up giving it an incredible review because a lot of the characterization and the writing done in the film is actually way, way better than you expect. And I think this is because it hadn't had the chance to get caught up in a lot of the, what am I looking for? The word I'm looking for. The things that become the norm, the tropes of what slashers would be. It still had a chance to make it have a voice, and that was really a good thing and a good time to do. Is this like a perfect film? No, but Is it a different film? Yeah, it follows the killer in a different way. And I think my son Matthew said it best, that is that if it would have followed the girl, it could have been just like this typical kind of like standard, kind of scary, oh, the girl's in trouble type of final girl type of film. But it takes the option of following the killer instead. And more often than not, we get to see the killer. We get to see the killer mess up. We get to see more humanity in the killer. And the reason that he does it is a little heartbreaking. So, New Year's Evil, one of the tops on my list, and that actually surprised me. Next up is a sort of a haunted house, sort of a possession film, and it is Anvil 2, The Possession. This is one of those where I think the sequel actually really outdoes the original. A lot of people are going to disagree with me on that one, but I do like Anvil 2, The Possession. I think that this is the best of all of them. Prime's in this one. We got Burt Young. It's just a great cast. The first one had a fantastic cast too, but we have like a great genre cast here. We have like we've got an Italian director. Give it a little bit more style, a little bit more pizzazz. The film itself goes into some really risky and deep type of things for like one of these style films, especially at this day and age. And what year was this one? I think it was 82 as well, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 82. See, 82 was a good year for horror. If you haven't seen this one here, definitely check it out. It is one fantastic thrill ride of a film. I love it. And it's available right now on the Scream Factory sale. And the box set, it's like in the favorites part. It's the first one right there. $42. Bam, you got it. 1, 2, and 3. And 3 in 3D. Would I not be a good like salesperson for like Scream? And yet, not one extra, not one screener, not one copy, nothing. But one hopes and dreams. Next up is one that I do have to say is a classic, and Stephen King himself considered this guy the next king of horror, the master of horror, and that would be Clive Barker in his directorial debut with Hellraiser. Hellraiser is a fantastic little film. It's really, really, as much as people like hype this movie, nowadays because of all the sequels that have gone on and they've really watered down the franchise, people tend to forget exactly how good of a film this is and how amazing of a directorial debut. We see this movie and we see Pinhead and we see Where It's Gone, and we talk about number 2 and what a fantastic film number 2 was, and it was a fantastic film. But we forget that this was Clive Barker's directorial debut. This was a great start for him as a filmmaker. He only directed 3 films, and this is one of them. This is an amazing film. It's just got such an iconic character with a Pinhead who's just a very different style of monster, kind of like almost in the old Universal style way. I know it seems kind of an odd thing to say, but he really does have that kind of like that old feel to him, that kind of like ominous type of feel, like a mummy or a vampire, like a Dracula, or a kind of like that, kind of like the old, like very seductive type of feel to him. It's a modern day vampire type story. Coming in the later part of the 80s is a film that I don't talk about enough. It's a fantastic film. It's a haunting film. It's a film, again, by Stephen King. One that basically, no, it's not a Maximum Overdrive. It's one that he would, when he wrote the book, he would put it in his desk drawer for a couple years because it disturbed him just way too much to get it out again. And of course, you know what that is by now. That is Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary is a fantastic film, and my good friend Dina DVD actually talks about like how dread is created in this film, and it is so well done. Pet Sematary is such a fantastic film, such great characters in this one here, and it's just an amazingly, hauntingly scary film. When you think about movies that are scary, that are actually really scary, and take things that can really get you, Pet Sematary is one of those films, and it's not the zombie kid all the time that's going to get you. It's that beginning scene where the kid gets hit with the truck, and it's for a lot of people one of the most horrific things in this thing here is kind of like when she's telling the story of herself, of her childhood, and yeah, it's the little things, it's the little quirks, more realistic things that can scare you sometimes way, way more than the other stuff can. Cat's going crazy. Evil Dead. It's a classic. What can be said about Evil Dead that hasn't been said before? It's just one of those there that, for me, Evil Dead is the one. Everybody loves Part 2, and I love Part 2 as well. I love Part 3. I think that all of them are fantastic. I even like the remake. But you know what? This one here is my favorite. This is the most horror-oriented one. Evil Dead Part 2 really got into more of a comedic nature, and it did some great, fantastic stuff. It had some amazing visuals that you had to look at and say, he just like took things to another level. But what he did here is just incredible. It is haunting, it is ominous, and it still gets me to this day. And again, it's the little things that get to me. It's not a lot of the big special effects, because this didn't have the money to have a lot of big special effects. But you know what it did have? That little sing-song voice that girl did when she's possessed, and it got to me like crazy. That was probably for me the scariest part of the film and the most memorable part of the film. A lot of people remember like the tree rape scene and stuff like that. I remember her coming out there, being in the doorway, being all sing-song, and basically telling them that we're gonna get you. Next up is a Fulci film. One of a couple Fulci films are on my list here tonight, and that is The House by the Cemetery. Just such a fantastic little film. A very dark, very morose. The kid we want to just... I love kids, and I just did not love this kid. But there's something about this film. There's something about the killer in this, the monster, the zombie, or whatever the heck, the Freudenstein. He is just a really, really good character. He's a really cool monster, and we don't get to see him again. We don't get to see enough of him in the film. The film is brutal. The film goes off in a dozen different directions, like Fulci tends to do, like I tend to do in these videos here. But House by the Cemetery cannot be denied as the kind of masterpiece that is. It is magnificently shot, and the gore scenes in this film are almost to the rate of being beautiful in the way that they're done. Argento would be like the type of guy that would do that as well. And don't worry, it's an Argento film on the list here tonight, and it's in 1980, so it's not going to be Rich Suspiria. House by the Cemetery. But when you're talking about a Fulci film that goes all over the place, that is completely crazy, that just revels at times in its own madness, then there's one that comes to mind, and that would be The Beyond. The Beyond was kind of Fulci's epic film. Along with Zombie Flesh Eaters, this would be like one of the great films that will come out. And Zombie Flesh Eaters is in the 70s, so can't use that one either. But Beyond was an amazing film. I utterly adore like every second of this film. I hate spiders. I'm an arachnophobe. I don't like insects at all, basically. But there's a spider scene in this that is terrifying, and it's just done and to the point where some people think it's overdone. But for me, it hypnotizes me. The death scenes. I just thought this was an incredible film, and it's a way more literate film than it gets credit for. People tend to get caught in the gore and the effects and stuff like that, and they kind of get lost in the fact that this is kind of like, and I'm going to go there. It's kind of like it's a surrealist style of horror film. It's almost when you think if Lynch was going to go crazy and do like one of these, well, it's going crazy. Lynch was going to do like a real like balls to the wall out and out horror film. It will be something like this. It'll be kind of really surrealistic, very different. A lot that's ambiguous, a lot that's left to the imagination, a lot of stuff that's in your face that's not left to the imagination. Just a great film. Next up is The Cheeks. It's 2-1, and it is Demons 1 and Demons 2. Great films by Bava, of course, with Jerry Argento having a big hand on them. But people tend to think, well, maybe Lamberto Bava didn't do as much on this as you thought, because Argento was there, like the God and all this stuff. But people forget that Lamberto Bava had been working with Argento for quite a while, and he'd been working as unit director, basically assistant director for some of Argento's other films as well. So he had been able to pick up a lot of stuff, a lot of tricks, and a lot of other trade that he would need to become a better and more seasoned director. And his father was Mario Bava, who's a fantastic director. Demons was an incredible film, and it was a horror film of its time, because this was a time when people were going to the theater and they were watching these movies, and here's a movie about people in a theater watching a horror movie, and all hell breaks loose. At that time, that's what it was. This was horror. This was exactly where horror was. Horror was in your theater, and that's where you went to see it. There were no VHS, there was no CEDs, there was no Betamax. This was where horror was. When Demons 2 came out, horror had come to your home. You got VHS. You had VHS now. There was like video rental stores. You could rent movies. You could rent VCRs, and you could like watch all these horror movies that you previously had to go to a theater to watch, to go to a big crowd to see it. And you could have like you have a party, and you could have like people in. You could have a bunch of horror movies in, and just like kind of like binge watch them, kind of like the way people do with Netflix right now. but this is back in the day when you actually had to go out and actually meet people and have fun with these films. Demons 2 is that. It's the demons are now coming from your TV set. They're coming out of the VHS and getting you where you live. So it's taken from the theaters and taken into the home. A lot of people really underrate this film there, but when you put these two movies together and you watch them back to back, you really get a feel of both of these of what both these films are saying, and the time frames that they're in. Demons tends to be the more liked one. I like them both pretty much on par, and I think they both have some amazing aspects to them. Demons and Demons 2, must-haves for any collection. It doesn't always have to be ultra scary to be a fun horror film. Sometimes it can just be fun, and great music, great effects, a great cast, great fun is had by all when you watch Return of the Living Dead. It's an amazingly fun film. Linnea Quigley has that amazing like striptease scene in the cemetery. We got like Bert and Ernie, not from Sesame Street, but they are actually named two characters named Bert and Ernie. We've got Thom Matthews here before he would go on to play a character that does not even resemble Tommy Jarvis in Halloween and the Friday 13th Part 6. And it would just be some incredible work that was done here. Great musical score in this one here. Do You Want to Party? Yeah. Love this one. Love this edition. If you can get the second sight edition of this one, I'm sure the second sight did this. Yeah, second sight did this one. It's a great edition. It has the complete documentary on it. It's just amazing. But we're not talking about the editions right now. We're talking about the movies, and this is a fantastical film from 1980. Not going to tell me, is it? I'm going to pretend I know until I actually see it. 1980. Okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna go with 80. I have no clue. 84, 85. It's in the 80s. Okay, this is gonna kill me, guys. So we're gonna pretend I totally know this, and I'm just pausing to like reflect and get my and capture my thoughts. Yes. 85 was a good year for horror films. And it's got Clu Gallagher. So, as you get seen, I mentioned Clu Gallagher in a couple videos recently, and good actor. Next up is one that I actually really didn't like a lot when I first saw it. And this one is 1981. I love it when they label the year really easily. You can see, cheat sheet. It's a fun film. Is it a great film? No, but it's just one that I tend to enjoy. And this is one that grows on me more and more with each viewing that I see of the film. When I originally saw the film, it was kind of blah on it. The ending, man, the ending is still man, but there's a lot that's there to like about this film. There's a lot of different stuff, and it's fun. I wouldn't say it's unique because there were a lot of these type of films that were done, and everybody was taking a holiday or a day or something like that. So why not? Why not have graduation day? It's just a fun film. We got Vanna White in this one, Linnea Quigley. Pretty decent cast overall. I think we got Christopher George in this one as well, isn't he, the coach? Yeah, Christopher George, Michael Pataki. Just an amazing cast. Patch McKenzie. Yeah, there's an actress. His name is Patch McKenzie, and she has a really good characterization in this. And that's the cool thing about a lot of these films. A lot of these films get like, you see like, well, it's the final girl and blah 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 and this, but a lot of these here actually have more depth and character than you would think. A lot of this here is paint by the numbers, but when you watch as much of this as I do, and you can get a really good character or get some depth within a character, you hang on to that because that's really, really something that's important and means a lot to you when you're watching these films. Next up is Curtains. Just an amazing little film. It's half giallo, half slasher, all fun. A great film. If you haven't seen Curtains, this is a great addition. Synapse did an amazing job with this one here. So some great special features. Their transfer is absolutely incredible. If you're a Blu-ray fan and a horror fan, this is a must for your collection. Curtains is just a great little film. It's unique. It's weird. Everybody that I've recommended Curtains to has ended up saying, thanks a lot. This is actually a really good film. I didn't realize it, but it's definitely on my watch list. Next up is another Synapse film that I think was put out around at the same time or maybe even on the same day, and that is Prom Night. Again, when we're talking about transfers here. Snaps is really good. They're almost like the Criterion of transfers when they do their stuff really well. I mean, they go really all overboard. If you've ever seen the old saga of them doing Suspiria, they're really trying to make sure that Suspiria gets the ultimate best edition that it can possibly have. They did it with Demons and Demons 2. I've got the Arrow version of Demons and Demons 2, and I think it's a fantastic edition. But I have no qualms about saying that the $50 editions of Demons and Demons 2 that were put out on in steelbooks are amazing to get, and they have incredible transfers and some awesome stuff on the inside as well. Arrow edition is a fantastic edition as well, but Snaps just goes that one step extra, and in this case, and I'll give them the edge on that one. And they do the same thing with this one here. Prom Night, I'd seen it so many times. I've got it on so many different editions. It was just a favorite of mine. It was just a different little film, an early film. I think it was done in 1981. Unless it was an early 80s film. I'm pretty sure it's 81 or 82. 1980, actually. Well, there we go. This is, again, on the cusp of there as well. 1980, wow. Prom Night is just an incredible little film. It's not exactly the most fast-moving film. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis, the Scream Queen of the time, Leslie Nielsen before it would go into doing more comedic roles, and I like the story of this one here. I used to find this one really slow when I first watched it. Now I'm finding it with more successive watches. I'm actually finding that its pace is a lot faster than I remember, and I can find it may seem a little bit leisurely to some, but to me, yeah, it just does an amazing job. Next up is another slash. I got a lot of slash films, my collections. I'm a big slasher guy. And this is one that, it's brutal with the ending. It's like Black Christmas. I hearken this one along to Black Christmas. Black Christmas, that you guys probably know, if you watch my videos, that's my favorite movie. Black Christmas just gets everything right, and not just in a horror movie, but in a movie. And it's the cinematography, in the way that it's shot, in the acting, in the casting, and in the sets, the lighting, the way that everything is done. To the way people hit their marks, cinematography, just Black Christmas is a perfect movie for me. It's a movie that I love. It's a movie that I go back to. It's a movie that scares me, that haunts me, and that impresses me to no end. Bob Clark did an amazing job with that film, and Bob Clark's done a lot of really great films, but Black Christmas just is a perfect film for me. It's not on this list because it's a 1974 film, but this one on here reminds me of Black Christmas. And saying that's giving a lot of credit and a lot of credo, and you can kind of know exactly how much I like this film for me to put it up there with that one. And that is The House on Sorority Row. Again, it's a simple story, an ending that's very similar in nature to Black Christmas. Very dark, very creepy. And this is a great edition. Katrina's Nightmare Theater. This was a 2-disc edition that was put out. Of course, Katrina, if you don't know, she actually was a wrestler, a female wrestler, who she played Winter in TNA, and Katrina, was that the name she had in WWE? I can't remember, but just this here is an amazing. Eileen Davidson from Young the Restless, Parsnip Burger, another great YouTuber, by the way. I'm sure you're watching, because I know he's getting a lot of great viewers coming up, and it's got to be overwhelming when when he's getting so popular so fast, but he deserves it. Him and Toddy Walnuts just did some amazing stuff. I always mention those guys in the same breath because they're two great YouTubers. It started out as two great commenters, and they've just taken off and done such great stuff. But Parsnip Burger, you like Young the Restless? Eileen Davidson is in this film here, who plays Ashley Abbott on Young the Restless, and she plays a couple characters, about 3, I think, on Days of Our Lives as well. And I'm sure if you see this down here, you're going to comment and you're going to be able to name them off right away. It's late at night and I can't right now. But A House on Sorority Row, it's a fantastic little film. The ending is just incredible. Which one? Well, there's 2 of them that actually qualify, 1 and 2. 1 is a fantastic little film, but 2 is the one I'm going to go for. 2 is weird, 2 is strange. Skin Slip, a really good YouTuber on Brandon. I think he recently watched part 2. And he knows how batshit insane this movie is. We've got a killer with a drill on his guitar that looks like a 1950s rocker, kind of like a cross between the love child of Elvis Presley and Andrew Dice Clay. And There's a dreamlike aspect. There's a Freddy Krueger aspect to it. There's some very cool, like kind of neat little set pieces that are done. He sings and dances, and this is awesome. Slumber Party Massacre 2. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Why Part 2? Because, well, I had to choose between both of them, and you know, really, everything that's good in Part 1 is shown in Part 2. And as you know, this is known as like one of the really, really bad films, but it is one of the most watchable films that you're ever going to find. It is so cheesily bad. It takes every good part of the first one and just shoehorns it in there for 45 minutes of the opening of this film before it takes off into insane territories, and you'll never think of the words garbage day again because you're going to be trying to say it just like he did. And man, that's not as easy as it sounds. Next up is a cool little thriller that came out in the see what it is. Does this one have the year? Of course it doesn't. Yes, it does. 88. And it had Bruce Campbell. It had Tom Atkins. It had Robert Z'Dar, the late Robert Z'Dar. Got Richard Roundtree, William Smith. Man, that is a lot of testosterone for one film. A lot of testosterone. And it is Maniac Cop. This was such a fun film. When I found this film originally back in the day, back on VHS, no idea what it was. I just took it up and I got it, and I just thought it was an amazing film. I totally fell in love with it. William Lustig did a great job with this one. There would be two other Maniac Cop films. The second one, again, is another fun film. The third one has a lot of problems, but there are parts of the third one that I do actually like. But the first film is a definite masterpiece. Maniac Cop. Really got to see this one. Next up is from the guys at Scream Factory, and it is The Howling. This is a great film. I got the DVD edition. I'm actually going to... This is one that I do want to upgrade down the road because it is such an amazing film. If that comes on the sale, guys, get The Howling if you don't have it. It's just such a fantastic film. It's a great werewolf film. It's a wonderful film. Dee Wallace-Stone is in this one. She does an amazing job. And we got Patrick McNee, unfortunately passed on now. Just recently, Belinda Blasky is in it as well. She's gone. Kevin McCarthy again passed on again. John Carradine's not around anymore. Slim Pickens. There's a lot of people that aren't around anymore in this one here. And Elizabeth Brooks. It's just a fantastic film. The special effects are well done. It's a unique story. It was the version of The Howling. Basically, The Howling was a series of books that were done. There's at least 3, maybe 4 that I know of that I read. Now, you would not see the actual book, The Howling, really adapted to like close to what it was supposed to be until The Howling, the original Nightmare Part 4, actually. But this is definitely a good like pseudo adaptation of the book with an amazing story. This is definitely the best of the Howling films. Well, I don't know. Howling 2 has a kind of unique charm to it, but The Howling is an amazing werewolf film and one of the best werewolf films ever made. I told you I was going to have an Argento film on here. So 1980s Argento, what would it be? Well, it's only one thing that it could be. My favorite Argento film of all time, and that includes Suspiria and Deep Red and all the rest. Nothing beats for me Tenebrae. Tenebrae is a classic giallo type film from Argento. It is beautifully shot. It is beautifully acted. And then we have John Saxon in this one here. We have, oh my God, so many great actors. Totally blanking on his name now. I really liked him too. Anthony Francioso. Derry Nicolodi, beautiful in this one actually. She's young, and see Tenebrae. Really, if you haven't seen Tenebrae, please do me a favor and watch this movie. Let me know what you think of it. I think that's an utterly fantastically beautiful film. It's a gorgeous film. It's a wonderful film. It's a film that I love. Now getting to one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. If not, probably is my favorite vampire movie of all time. It's the one that came out when I was growing up. A lot of people have their favorite Hammer, Dracula, and I got one of those as well. But for the movies when I grew up, the vampire that I liked, well, he had a much simpler name, and it was Jerry. It was Jerry Dandridge, and he liked apples. And I love the music, the J. Galls Band theme song to Fright Night. Fright Night is my all-time favorite vampire film. I do love this movie more than you can imagine. This is probably one of the movies I've watched most out of everything that I've ever gotten. And again, this is from my good friend Parson Berger, because I would have missed out on this if it wasn't for him, and I would have been so upset that I would have actually would have really upset if it would to like because this means so much to me. This movie is one of my all-time favorite films, and it's a beautiful film, and I know it's weird to say about horror, but it is. It's a beautiful film. It's just so well done. Ron McDowell just does a performance in it that's amazing and slightly heartbreaking. Stephen Jeffries would like continue his career with he'd acted with Amanda Bierce before in Fraternity Vacation. This would be I think this is their second time acting together is in Fright Night, and they had a kind of a chemistry that worked well, and they could play off each other extremely well. And of course, Amanda Bierce was she was one she's part of the LGBT community. I think she has a wife or at least a girlfriend, and Stephen Jeffries was known for doing like the adult gay porn films for part of his career. And there's nothing wrong with if that's what he wanted to do and that's where he wanted to take his career. I'm definitely not going to judge him on anything like that. That's Lord knows I'm watched enough of my normal adult films in my time, especially when I was growing up. So why not? Fright Night, just a great film. I love this movie. Love the music. Love the soundtrack. Love the score. I just think it's perfectly shot, perfectly well done. One of my favorites of all time. Friday the 13th, but which one? Well, actually, we're going to go with part 4, the final chapter. I really did like that film. I love parts 1, 2. I think 2 is probably one of my favorites, but I'm going to go with part 4 because I think that part 4 took everything that was good out of the first 3 films, put it in a blender, mixed it up, seasoned it just right, put in the amazing actors, and if I had one problem with part 4, it's one of the most hilarious things ever, and that's the he's killing me scene. You got a big badass guy that's been that's hunting Jason. He's been built up to be this to make you think that there's going to be an epic confrontation between these 2 characters, and he dies hilariously off screen to basically him screaming out, "He's killing me! Oh my God, he's killing me!" It was meant to be chilling and be scary, and it came off so not. But Friday 13th Part 4, it's got Corey Feldman, it's got the amazing Crispin Glover dance, so gotta love it for that alone. Crispin Glover said at the time that he was dancing to a completely different song, and he actually listed what the song was, and you know what? It still doesn't work. It works perfectly because Crispin Glover, you're a unique human being, and we love you for your unique Crispin Gloverness. Do not change that. We like that just the way it is. Keep dancing crazy, keep going wild, and I guess I ran it through my computer, and you're not such a dead fuck after all. Next up is The Burning. I mentioned this one earlier on today because this is part of the sale, I think. The Burning is a fantastic film. It came out around the same time as Friday 13th Part 2. And Tom Savini, who had been asked to come back to do Friday 13th Part 2, he said, no, Jason didn't live, Jason drowned. It's kind of stupid, I don't want to do that. And he said, I'll do this one. This one had a better script. And Killer Cropsey just does amazing. It's really different. It's like a final guy instead of a final girl. And you don't get a lot of that. We had a lot of really good actors in. I mentioned this earlier. There's a lot of fantastic actors in this one here. There's a lot of great kill scenes. There's some iconic scenes that you remember for a long time to come. And it's just a well-paced film, well done. It's beautifully shot. The wooded area is great. The woods work really well for these slasher films. And this one here just goes above and beyond. So we're down to the last few. And next up is Day of the Dead, my favorite of the George Romero films. I know you're thinking Survival or something like that, but no, not even Diary. It's actually Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead is my favorite one. It is bleak, it is nihilistic, it is dark. There's no people running through the mall and having a grand old time. This one, no, this is a much darker film. It's Romero's actual favorite film in the Dead, and it's mine as well. It's just an amazing film. I have this action figure, actually. Next up is one. For a long time, there's a lot of slashers, and there's a lot of killers, and mysteries and stuff going around, but there wasn't any monsters anymore. So when Stan Winston came along, the late Stan Winston, and brought back the monster story, kind of like an urban gothic type of thing, it was really, really nice. It was really well done. And the story plays like something you could tell around a campfire. The tragic character played by Lance Henriksen who wants vengeance and then regrets ever wanting it. It's very different. It's a different way to do it. Usually these vengeance stories, these one revenge things, basically they go completely insane and they do, no matter what it is, they're just willing to do it. And Tension's character is deeper. He's more layered than that. And basically he realizes to follow his ways. He realizes that vengeance is not going to bring back his son. And unfortunately, it's too late at that point. And things have to play out through... it's a great film, Pumpkinhead. So this is one here that belongs in everybody's collection. And I think Brandon has this coming, actually, from Lauren, Rom's Reviews. So there's another fantastic guy for you. Rom's Reviews. The whole Tenebrae guys will definitely watch their stuff. Rom's Reviews, Lauren G, amazing stuff. Sean, Doc, the Metal Freak, does a great reviews, really funny, and he does the Doc Schlock type stuff, and that's incredible. Killer Nerd, Mark, he's just really sincere with stuff he does, and he knows his stuff too. He knows his movies, he knows his music, his soundtracks. Just fantastic people, and what a fantastic community we have for this here. And I'm doing way too many shout-outs to actually link people down there. Stop the video and write these names down, because these are names that you should know. Yes, so many greats. So many greats. Pumpkinhead. Check this one out. It's an amazing film. You will thank me for that. I love the Sleepaway Camp films, but which one is the one that made my list for 31 films that I really, really love? Sleepaway Camp Part 2. As much as I like Felissa Rose in Part 1, and Felissa Rose did turn out to be an amazingly beautiful woman. And I cannot emphasize the fact that she turned out to be amazingly beautiful enough. She is an incredible looking woman. I really did enjoy Part 2. This is my favorite of them all. And it's just Pamela Springs, Teen Renee Estevez, and of course Brian Patrick Clark from General Hospital. And I think he acted on Bold and Beautiful. So when I mention these soap opera references, that's because I know my good friend Parsnip watches, and he'll get the references really fast. Brian Patrick Clark played Grant Putnam on Young and the Restless. On General Hospital. And why is that important to me, or why does it mean something to me? Because I have epilepsy, and Grant Putnam turned out to be like a spy, and he was drugging his wife, Cecilia. Pardon me if I go off into a little side swerve here. And he was drugging her, and basically he was drugging her with a drug where she'd wake up and she would forget someone like about half an hour before, so that he could get away and do all the spy stuff. And eventually would go crazy and all kinds of crazy stuff, soap opera. But he was drugging her with phenobarbital. And I thought that was kind of like unique and fun and hilarious. I'm epileptic. I take phenobarb. I take phenobarbital twice a day, and I'm not sure how much it's messed with my memory, or if I'm taking it because somebody's doing spy missions behind my back. But yeah, I think it's a different story. But as a kid, that kind of like it got stuck with me. I was like watching TV one day, and I was surfing the channels, and there was this guy putting phenobarb into this girl's drink to knock her out. So just did it. Sleepaway Camp 2 is an amazingly fun film. It's really fun. It's really funny. And Pamela Springsteen really embraces the role. So it's a shame that she doesn't like to talk about it or have anything to do with it anymore, because she really did become the character, and she made a lot of people really fall in love with the character and fall in love with her and her just inherent happiness. If I can think of any horror character that is reminiscent of the way that I probably run my channel, it is Pamela Springsteen's character of Angela in this here, because I have been accused of being way too bright and chipper with a lot of my stuff, and I guess I don't get gritty, trolly enough. But I can understand Angela's like, I'm a happy camper. She's psychotic, she's loving it, she's owning it, and she's enjoying every second of it. And if any naughty campers get in her way, sucks to be them. Great film. Halloween 2. What do you say about the movie that has to come on and be the sequel to one of the most iconic films of all time? How do you do that and actually not get completely blown away, like completely thrown under the rug? How the heck does that work? Well, they do it with this one here. Halloween 2 just is a great film. It's one of the few hospital horror films. You know, it's a whole genre on its own. This one, Halloween, Visiting Hours, X-Ray, all great hospital horror films. But this is the greatest of the hospital horror films. It just does some amazing jobs. Uh, the scene, there's a few scenes like with the eye, you know, the eyeball scene with kind of almost like a Fulci-esque throwback scene. When he gets the nurse from behind, kind of lifts her, which is a kind of a take on the scene with Bob in the first film. But it's a great film. It really does a great job picking up and taking it in different directions than you would expect. I still don't like the fact that Laurie turned out to be his sister. I thought that was an unnecessary added aspect to the film that I really didn't need. But Halloween 2 is a great film, great pacing, a horrible wig on Jamie Lee Curtis, but we can forgive that because after all, she is Jamie Lee Curtis, and damn, just watch Perfect. You want to see Jamie Lee Curtis looking, well, perfect. When you talk about werewolf movies, there's two that are going to come to mind from the 80s. One's The Howling, and the other one is this one here, and this one is utterly amazing. The music, the acting, the effects, the transformation scene in this movie is incredible. It is amazingly incredible. Uh, and it can only be an American Werewolf in London. It's unique, it's neat, it's funny. It's because throwback to the old Hammer films when they go into the pub. It's just really a different, cool film, and it makes me want to watch. I wish it wasn't so late right now, so that I could actually turn this movie on and watch it again and experience it right now, because I love this film. It is incredible. If you like werewolf films, this one is a great werewolf film, one of the ultimate greats. It is horror, it is comedy, it's a great mix and a great amalgamation, and an American Werewolf in London. Next up is ReAnimator. Shouldn't be a shock this one's on my list. I'm a big Jeffrey Combs fan. If I didn't have respect for him before, when I met him, I gained a lot more respect for him. He's just such a nice guy in person, and it's great to see that. It's really great to see that that is the case, because I grew up idolizing the guy from movies like From Beyond and ReAnimator. I know From Beyond didn't make the list this time around, but I definitely want to get ReAnimator on the list. It is a classic. This is the role he was meant to play. Sometimes actors are just born to do certain roles. Jack Nicholson was born to be the Joker, and in a way, I guess so was Heath Ledger. Jeffrey Combs was born to be Herbert West in ReAnimator. He was born to play the role, and it's just amazing. It is amazing. This movie is funny. It is gory. It's one of those you can't take your eyes off of. You're not sure all the time exactly if you love everything that's going on, but it's one hell of a ride getting there. And great stuff. Barbara Crampton, gorgeous as always. Next up is A Nightmare on Elm Street, but the first one? Yeah, actually we're going to go with the first one. I thought we'd go with the third one, because the third one is probably the most well-known, and it's very well put together. The third one is an incredible film. But iconic-wise, I still got to go with the first one. Tina did a great job in this film here. The actress played Tina. I got to meet her at a convention last year in Ottawa. She is still a very, very beautiful woman. And I was actually was able to speak to her, which was really good. And I was waiting in line to see Robert Englund. That was a long, long line. And I saw her line there, and it was like a smaller line. And I'm like, this girl did some amazing stuff. She was, she went on to be in Highlander, the TV series. She did a great job in that. And I think that one of the reasons that she ended up not being in Highlander later on, because she actually did have chemistry with the lead actor, and they didn't want her to have too much chemistry with the lead actor because they had an actress for that. So they actually ended up taking her out of the show. But again, she was incredible. So Nightmare on Elm Street is just one of those genre-changing movies. It took slashers into a whole new, different direction. It almost made it into a new genre of its own. I hated to call this movie slashers for so many years because it was just different. It was unique. It just had this kind of like almost fantasy type element that went beyond a lot of what the slashers did. And I liked the slashers, and I didn't want to make lesson what the slashers had accomplished on their own. And I didn't want to put this thing either up or down on either pedestal. I just wanted this one to stand on its own. So Nightmare on Elm Street is its own film, a fantastic film, and Wes Craven did an amazing job. Last but definitely not least is a movie that kind of bridges the gap between like slashers and fantasy, same as Nightmare on Elm Street did, but in a very different way, and almost puts the evil little kid thing in there as well. Although he's not a kid, he does look kind of tiny and he's kind of small. And it's the original Child's Play. Uh, Great film. I can't believe when I went to see this in the theater, there was me and my dad and Roger. And I think there may have been my cousin Roger. May have been one other person in there at the time. Who would have thought? After we thought it was fantastic, and I thought it was just such a fun film to go and watch. And that Brad Dourif did such an amazing job. I went into this because I wanted to see Chris Sarandon again. I'd seen him in, of course, in Fright Night, and he was playing the more straight man in this one here. And of course, Catherine Hicks, who I thought was absolutely gorgeous. Kevin Yeager did the effects on this one here. So there we go, Child's Play. So there it is, guys. 31 of my favorite, not all my favorites, but 31 of my favorite 1980s horror films, classics, all in the. Oh, it's hard to believe exactly how much good stuff came out of that era in the genre. And 80s were just such an amazing time. 81, 82. Just do a list. Just go up like Google horror films in 1981, horror films in 1982, and just be amazed by just how much incredible stuff are on those lists. How much groundbreaking work is done there. For me, when it comes to horror, like I mentioned with Dina DVD, I think that every generation of horror has its good and its bad. But the 80s is my generation of horror. It's what I think is the great generation of horror, because it's the type of stuff that I was into. Now, maybe if I was watching a lot of the at the time, well, I liked a lot of the Universal and stuff. That maybe that was my main focus. 80s I still would have been my time a bit, because you got to see stuff like the Monster Squad. You got to see stuff like Fright Night. You got to see movies like the Howling, and so all the Universal characters that got their start and did such amazing jobs with the Wolfman, Dracula, and Frankenstein, and the Mummy. Got upgraded again with the Hammer films. I thought the Hammer films one-upped the Universals by far and large for the most part. Not every one of them, but like some of them definitely did. The Dracula films and the Frankenstein monster films definitely did for me. It's my personal opinion on it. A lot of people, Bride Frankenstein is their favorite horror film of all time. I really did like what Peter Cushing brought to the role of Baron Frankenstein, the Doctor. And I just loved Christopher Lee's portrayal of